Hello there, people of the internet. My name is Jagero, and this is Dialogues with Jagero with Blazey Onyango. A beautiful, beautiful story, and I hope it's going to be. Onyango, how are you doing?
I'm doing well. I'm so excited to be here.
Every time I am talking with a Kenyan or a Kenyan American or an African American or Hungarian American or Brazilian Kenyan, it's always nice.
Yes, Hungary American, but I don't think I have reached
Hungary Kenyan,
Yeah, I put myself in a Kenyan. I don't think I will ever reach Kenyan American, regardless of me living in America.
What do you think of people who call themselves? By the way, we are going to be talking with you about the Bahai religion.
Yes.
Your story of moving to the USA. Your story with Black Lives Matter. You've done a lot.
Yes.
For a 25-year-old?
27 right now.
27.
But I used to do these things when I was at least 23, 24. That's
23, 24.
But activism in me started when I was like 15 or 14. Yeah, so it's been a long journey.
Yeah, I want to ask you a little bit about the things that I see on your body. You have got a chain, Africa, and then there is a tiger, and then you've got a cap. I can't make out the writing. Yeah, and then on you can show it to the camera. Then you have got huge. These are the devil worshipping,
Devil worshipping.
Devil worshipping kind of vibe.
So I'm going to explain to you what
everything.
So
right?
This is African map. This is what protects me everywhere I go. I market my continent, and then this is the Black Panther. This is the Black Panther. So I have Africa here, and I have the Black Panther in me. The Black Panther spirit as Africans. And then this ring here, I bought it in Israel. It was very nice because there's this street seller who was very talented with selling stuff, and I ended up buying it very expensive. I won't say how much. This dragon ring, I bought it in Chicago on an African festival, and I've loved it since then. And this is a Bahai ring. This is a Bahai ring that has a Bahai symbol. If you meet so many Baha'is around the planet, you'll see them with something like this. So this is just, I won't call it an identity, but it's something that we just put on as,
And the cap, is it ruthless? What is it? What's written there?
This cap was made by one of my friends in Chicago. So I was just trying to market him and, wear his stuff. So anytime I fly out of the country, I always wear people's things just to show appreciation. I could have worn a Bahai t-shirt today, made by some kids, but it was not clean.
And then you have Kama.
Yeah, actually, I bought this one in Nairobi because of this guy. This is Buddha. Looks like someone meditating.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, so you can see I like things with spirituality. So
do you know the word Varma? Really, there is Kama and then there's Varma. Do you know Varma?
I don't know Varma.
Varma is a very interesting word that came in 2023.
What's Varma?
Varma is actually is from the word VAR.
Oh.
VAR is video assistant referee.
I know, for soccer. Right?
Yes.
Football.
Yes. And then there is the MA. So instead of VAR, they are saying Varma. So if what they are saying is that if the referee gives you a decision that favors you, and that decision should not have been given to you, then on the next match, you suffer the same fate, then we call it Varma.
Wow. I never expected that. Then maybe that's something that might happen in my life. I don't know. Yeah.
So we have got a lot to talk about. We've got a lot to talk about, but we are going to be starting with your story. Right now, you live in Chicago.
Yes.
You work for the Bahai community, and you're a Bahai.
I've been a Bahai.
Yeah. So I don't understand what being a Bahai is. I don't know what a Bahai community is. You've told me a little bit about it, but I want us to unpack it and understand you. And I am 41 years old. You are 27 years old. It sounds and looks like you've done a lot with your 27 years here on earth. So let's track back to you before moving to the US. Would tell us about your life living here in Kenya. Where were you living? How many kids were you in the family? What was the state of, were all your parents there?
Yeah, so I was born in 1996. I really don't know the exact date because, back in the days, if you were born in a poor family, There's nothing like birthdays. So until one time, one of my cousins told me that I was born between the 24th to the 30th of May. So I had to choose a date in between those, and I gave myself the 24th. And unfortunately, I found out that I picked up a Gemini date, which many people don't like. That's in Nakuru, Kenya. My parents were very young parents when they had me. I think my mom was in her like a teenager. I can't remember how old. Also my dad. Unfortunately, when young people get married without good experience of life, things don't work as they expected. So they ended up separating. I won't call it a divorce, because in Kenya, people don't divorce.
Yeah.
Some people, they just leave. They just wake up
wanasema kila mtu anaenda njia yake.
Yeah, so my dad and my mom had a problem and they parted ways, and my dad left us. And I won't put any blame on any of them, but that's where our trouble started, and we suffered so much. It was me and my twin brothers and my mom. So we really endured a lot. We used to live in the slums of Nakuru, called Rwanda. It's like the lowest end, if I use that word. We used to sleep on just a box, carton? Yeah, cardboard. In the US, they call it cardboard. And just one shuka, or like a piece of blanket. Me and my mom, and I remember those days. And due to so many challenges that my mom went through, she ended up getting so depressed, and she did other things that made us suffer, which I won't go into, not now. And from that, I ended up becoming a young parent, because my mom was busy trying to find life for us, and I was at home taking care of my kids. Oh, sorry, my brothers.
Your siblings.
My siblings, yeah. And I had to take care of myself too. It was so troublesome. Me and the police, we were friends, if you know what I mean. I never liked school, because education to me, I felt like it was being enforced, and most of the time I used to go to school hungry. So I'm like, how can I study when I don't have anything in my stomach? I'd rather be on the streets eating and enjoying life, And life went on and on and on. And one day when I was 15 years old, I started asking myself questions about religion, because I felt like it was being enforced into us, and it was mostly by white people. That's how I always started. White people comes and tells us that all the things that we as Africans have believed are null and void, or hot air, if I use that term. And then they give us a new lifestyle. Talk like us, dress like us, think like us, believe like us, eat like us, do everything like us, and you'll see the gates of heaven. No, that never worked out for me. And I was a kid.
Yeah.
So
what church were you guys going to when you were young?
We started with Roho. You know Roho?
Yeah. Jagero, yes. A lot of drumming. My father actually was always wondered how those guys can drum for hours.
Man.
He used to tell me that he believes that they take weed. Do you know about that?
Yeah, I think, for you to drum like that, you must be on something sometimes.
Yeah.
Or you can be passionate about drumming, because I'm a drummer, but you never know, So yeah, we started with Jagero, and then it changed into Roho Maler, this Luo religion. And then later, just normal Christian, go to church, keyboard stuff. But I never liked church. I can't lie to you. I never liked it.
What is it that you didn't like about church?
I felt like anytime I went to church, I was being judged for trying my best to be a good person. Every time I was being told that you are wrong, regardless of what you're doing. And no matter what you do,
you'll always be a sinner.
You're a sinner. Like, when there's a place that says in the Bible that even if you look at a woman, just look, didn't touch.
Yes,
you've already sinned in a different way. And this is
to be fair to the Bible. It says
right.
if you look lustfully.
Yeah. Well, you never know. You might see a beautiful person, and
yeah.
So that's sinning, and the degree of sinning is just interesting. You can't even imagine, and so many things. And the pastor was always pointing fingers on me. No matter what I did. Yeah. So.
Do you think he was pointing fingers at you because you were Sometimes it's because of our background that fingers are pointed at us. Do you feel like it is because they know your background that you're living, sleeping under a sheet and cardboard beneath?
I think mostly it was because of fear. In church, they used to preach fear. That's what I used to see. It's like fire. That was the main topic. And death and hell. And that was like horrible for me because I'm like, I also need a chance to live. I used to ask myself, if God is my father, why is he giving me a test and he knows that this test is very hard and he's promising me death? And he can come and take this test out of my face. Why is he trying to kill me by force? Because, sinning is just like us thinking just something small, you've already sinned, you're going to hell. I'm like, oh my God, I can't. It's just so hard. And all this division of all these religions is like, we as Christians, we're right. You as Muslims are wrong. You Hindus are wrong. And there's billions of these people on the planet. What's happening? That's when I said I don't like Christianity plus all religion. Yeah, so.
All right, so this is happening at 15 years old.
15 years.
How does the story, progress from here? You told me that you came to Nairobi at some point.
Yeah, I came to Nairobi actually after I became a Bahai. This is way after I really embraced this new religion. I remember one time I was walking in Nakuru and I looked up in the sky and I was trying to figure out God. It's like, where is this dude? He's just up there checking me out, going through all these things, and I'm trying my best and he can't do anything. What's wrong with this guy? Just show yourself. At least stop hiding. You've been hiding for a long time. I was a kid and I was thinking like that, and I never had any answer. And I said, I don't believe
They say that God is omnipresent. So he never hides.
Yeah. So I said it doesn't exist. And that's when I said, well, we're here to enjoy life and die. Until when one time I went to my friend's house and I saw a book written, Bahai Faith. And I was very bored on that day. And I was laying down on the couch. And I took the book, picked it up, and I read, a new prophet has come. It's a new prophet. And I called my friend and I said, what's this? He told me, oh, there's some Baha'is who came here to teach us about this new religion. I told him, I know we're very poor, but be very careful. There's a new prophet and from Arab countries. And it's very recent because it's from 1844. When someone tells you that Jesus was here 2,000 years ago, Muhammad was here thousands of years ago, there's a way you feel. When someone tells you 100 years ago or 200, guy, tuko na evidence ya picha.
Yeah.
It's very scary. But I kept reading the book.
What kind of book was it? Was it that like the Mormon book that talks about like the SDA book that, talks about the prophet and what they believe in?
It was an explanation of Baha'i principles.
I see.
Of what Baha'is should do and what Baha'i life should look like. And I think in one of the quotations I read in the book, it said that, is it okay to lie to avoid being in trouble? To tell a small lie.
Yeah.
Let's say your dad stole something.
Yeah.
And the cops show up. And they ask, is your father around? What are you going to do?
Yeah. Tell them that he's out on an errand.
Two things. One is you're going to expose your father and your father's going to suffer so much. The second thing, you're going to be a liar. How do you do it? In the eyes of God, you go with the hardest part. You don't lie.
Yes.
And that took me big time. I reflected on that so much.
What did the Baha'i book say? What are you supposed to do?
The Bahai Faith said that in the eyes of God, you don't lie.
You don't lie.
You say, if they ask you, you do it. You can't tell a small lie to avoid problem. Because for us to have problems, it's our way of us reflecting of what we did before. So maybe your dad being arrested is a good thing if he did something that injured the community. So you see that?
Yeah.
Yeah. But in the eyes of human beings, it doesn't work like that. Yeah.
So to protect the larger community, sacrifice your dad.
Yes. Yes, I think also to be honest to yourself. Can you imagine going to bed knowing that you lied? Closing your eyes, knowing very well that you did. I don't remember the last time I lied. Maybe I lied few lies.
Yeah, but then let me ask you, because I think the Bible would also teach the same, that you tell the truth.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it was the same as what the Baha'i says, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So you get this book, and what happens after this? You read the principles?
I read the principles of the Bahai Faith, and that's funny. I think I was 14 at that time, and then I never followed it up again. And then 1 year later, my friend who I was with the other time, he used to think like a girl at a Bahai center that he knew there. And there was another Bahai on that Sunday when I was sitting outside who was going to the Bahai center. So he was like, hey, you guys want to come to the Bahai center? I was like, where's that? Then my friend told me, this is one of the guys who is part of that religion. The book you saw last year, this is one of the guys who believe in that. So I said, oh, okay, I would like to see that. And because there are some ladies at the Bahai center, maybe we can also go and check them out.
Yeah.
You know, because it's single, trying to be cuffed.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
Where women can lead us.
I know.
Right into the altar.
Yeah, just make sure it's in the right lane. So I went to the Bahai center, and unfortunately the ladies were not there. They were just Africans, because Bahai sounds foreign.
Sounds very foreign.
It sounds either like Islam or something. But I saw Africans, and they were not even rich Africans. They're just regular dudes like me. And I walked in, and they were very, very, very hospitable. They were very kind. They even offered me tea, and I refused because I thought the tea might have something.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is a strange thing.
Might be laced with something.
Yeah, they I might get kidnapped. And I walked in, and I asked one of the gentlemen that, what is this religion? And then he said, oh, you don't know this religion? So the Bahai Faith is like this. If I give you my cell phone, and I tell you that I want to go to the restroom, and you keep it and don't steal it and wait for me until I come, you're a Bahai. Or if I try to fight with you, and then you run away and go and say prayers for me and don't fight with me, you're a Bahai. Simple. If you have time, let me know, you can meet in town and have a cup of tea. I have to go now. So he left me with questions. Because I'm like, that's what the Bible teaches, but why am I feeling it so strong in my heart? Because I never felt like someone was pushing it into me. He gave me an option to learn on my own. And one of the principles in the Bahai Faith is independent investigation of truth. We don't enforce people to become Baha'is. So that's when it started, and I started reading so much. I met with this dude, we became friends. 3 months later, I declared. I said I want to be a Bahai. At 15.
At 15?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. Your parent is around? So your mother is around?
Yeah.
Does she know that you're taking this bold step towards...
At that time, at 15?
Yeah.
I had to hide for a long time. So I used to tell her that I used to go to the Bahai center just to hang out with friends. But I never told her I'm a Bahai, because I knew that would be a big problem in the house. So I think I did hide for like a year. So one time she came home and asked me, have you joined the Bahai Faith? And my heart dropped. I was almost dead. And I said, yes. And she said, oh, good. You have two options. One is to stay with us here, and we go to church. We're going to say prayers for you. Second one is to go and live with the Baha'is if you can't listen to what we're telling you. And I said, I'm leaving. And I left. That's when I left my mom. And they were very shocked. I think she was like, I thought she was joking, because I packed my suitcase and she was sitting there. And I didn't know where I was going. Because you can't go to someone's house. Hey, hello, I came, I've been chased away from home. But I was ready to die for this religion. I was ready because I knew how I felt free. You know, the Bahai Faith say that we're all flowers of one garden. All these colors that we have is from the beauty of God. It's not that black is inferior. I was ready to die with that. It said that all religions are one. Same God, religions. These religions come in different time to remind us of the teachings of God. So I never looked at Muslims as horrible, or Christians. The Bible was corrupted, as you know, because of all this politics. But
I hear that a lot. I'm not sure.
Yeah, I've read it. I've read so much history about it. These versions, and I wanted to be a world citizen. I never wanted to be a Luo. It's nice to be a Luo, you know? You know where you came from. But when I'm with the Kikuyus, I want to look at them as my brothers because, you know, my mom told me never marry a Kikuyu. And my first girlfriend was a Kikuyu.
Why did she tell you that, though?
Because, you know, Luos and Kikuyus, how they push each other.
I like the choice of word.
That's right.
How they push each other.
So much. So protect your blood. You can go anywhere, but this spot here, don't step there. I was ready for that.
Yeah. I agree with you about being a world citizen.
Yeah.
Because, you know, I was told those stories when I was in the village. I grew up in the village. And we used to be told stories of Kikuyus. As a matter of fact, when we were growing up in the village, we thought of them not as human beings, but as predators. You know, people who are really, really bad.
Yeah.
Like if you're gonna shake their hands, you better count your fingers.
Yes.
You know.
Oh, please make sure you clean it. Clean it.
Count your fingers. But you see, but you know what? And the same they said of Kalenjins, you know. But then I came to this city to live with to seek the Luos that were very close to me as family members, and they all let me down, like all of them. The first person to give me reprieve in my life was a Kalenjin who gave me a scholarship for 3 years at college. When my first book, when I wrote my first book called True Citizen, it is a Kikuyu who came forth and gave me 80,000 to print it.
Wow.
Then he didn't stop there. He gave me a place to launch the book, and he has supported me all, and if I keep records of my books,
and also,
you know,
yeah, let's be honest, if you think of how beautiful Kikuyu women are, you can't imagine, and you telling me that I should not talk to them. Come on, man. They're very pretty.
Anyway, pack your bags, bro.
Yeah. So Get out, man.
Yeah.
And my mom, I think she was really testing me.
Yeah.
And I left, and I went to the Bahai Center, and I told the guy, the caretaker there, that I've been chased away from home, and I talked to my teacher, my Bahai teacher. He's the guy who introduced the faith to me at the Bahai Center. Actually, he's a Kalenjin, and he also took me to school. He paid for my education because he met me when I was very ratchet, if I use that term. So they gave me a spot to sleep, a very tiny room, because I was still going to school, high school. And they took care of me. And my mom said, that kid thinks he's a man, let him be there. And from that day, now I was on my own at 15, 16, 17. Until now, it's been just Blazey and friends.
Yeah.
That's the last time I think my family did spend anything on me. Yeah.
It's interesting. What do you feel about that, being left out? You mean, you know, for me, I came to Nairobi. My father died, and then out of shock, my mother died about a year later. And then I found myself so alone in the city. I had family, but they were completely powerless. You know, my sister sometimes would send me like 600 bob in a basha, unakamba, you know, then I would wait for it. I would walk from Kawangware all the way to town to look for it, and then the bus had not arrived. Then I would go the next day. So sort of I had family. They were powerless, but they were there. But I can imagine that your family that has told you pack your bags and go, especially your mother.
Yeah, you know, so I've really grown into a different person. Maybe let's say the last few years, I could blame them so much for what happened, because even my father, I saw him at 16. And I realized that in this planet, we're having an experience. And the more we hold on to things that happened for us in the past, the more we won't even be able to enjoy the present experiences. And me, I really love my parents, regardless, whatever happened. There's a lot I won't say here, but I love them to death. And they know that. Sometimes we don't talk, but they'll see their phone flashing with some dollars. Because I love them. And I love my friends too. You know, I don't hold anything in my heart. And as Baha'is, we are taught not to do that. We have to try our best to forgive, and also for you to pay people who did things wrong in your life, pay them with kindness.
Have you ever had this phrase Forgive, never forget. What do you think about that statement?
That's I can say that statement has been constructed to make people rigid on their past. You have to let go. I'm sorry. This the guy I know we can't have him here, but he knows that we've been traveling with him, and I've been visiting all my enemies, people who consider me their enemies, and I'm taking care of them. There's a dude who I sent money was it 2 months ago, and then he disappeared with the money. And then he didn't know I was coming to Kenya. And then later I told him, I'm here, you want to have some lunch? And he showed up, and he apologized tremendously. And so much I've done. So you have to forgive and forget. Sometimes you have to deal with your scars, because you don't want to die with baggage in your heart. It will bother you. It won't bother them. Yeah, and that's life is not, you can't hold stuff.
You can't hold stuff.
You can't.
So you are, you live with the Baha'is for how long?
With the Baha'is? I've been a Bahai for the...
No. You remember your mother asked you to join the Baha'is, yes.
Oh, yeah. So later, my teacher who introduced me to the faith, he took me in because he wanted me to finish high school without stress. Actually, it's funny. I was so stressed at that time until I developed ulcers, which I still struggle with until right now. He took me in, made sure I was studying, doing my exams and all kind of stuff. And after I graduated from high school, I told him that now I want to be on my own. Let me go find my own life. And he's like, where are you going? I said, Nairobi. To do what?
The city of glasses.
Yeah, I said,
everybody ends up here, man.
This is where people come. I came here and I used to stay in Kawangware. I was sleeping.
My hood.
Yeah, I was sleeping on someone's couch. One of the Baha'is, actually, a Baha'i youth. I asked him, can I stay at your house for like 2 or 3 weeks while looking for a job? After 1 week, this guy told me that he's trying to marry, so I should move out.
Yeah.
I think he was tired of me.
He's trying to marry, yeah. That's a good way of,
but I don't know where I don't know where to go. And then there's this American woman also who was my friend, who also liked me so much. So she was in Kenya for like a month before she leaves, and then she hosted me for a month. During that time, I was looking for jobs. I was looking for cleaning toilets. During this month, I was looking for jobs, and it was very hard. It's very hard to find a job in Nairobi.
Yeah.
Very hard. Mostly as a young person with no experience, who just graduated from high school, you're very poor. And I went to this restaurant called Kepasa. You know Kepasa in Karen?
No.
Yeah, it's owned by another lady. They are called Karen. She's from Belgium. And I told her that I really wanted a job. And she asked me, what kind of job? I said, cleaning toilets. But I was very good in English. So she's like, oh, toilets. Have you ever tried doing service? Being a waiter? I said, no. Then she said, but your English and personality is so good. Do you mind training as a waiter first before you start cleaning toilets? I said, I don't mind. Then she said, I'll give you 2 months. If you're excellent, I'll hire you as a waiter. If you're not, I'll take you to the bathrooms.
To the toilet.
And clean the toilets.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Life. As a waiter. And that restaurant is a place where these big politicians come to hide for their meetings. Like I know I used to serve the Prime Minister of Kenya, Raila Odinga, Wetangula and these guys. And I was the youngest because I'm just fresh from high school. And I was hired by the owner, not the manager. Yeah. So the manager used to think I'm very incompetent. Actually, when these big folks used to come in the restaurant, she used to tell me, hey, move. I'll send another waiter there. And anytime.
But you are untouchable because you've been hired by the boss.
Yeah. So when my boss was not around, I will not serve them. But when my boss was around, she used to say, Blazey, go serve Raila.
Yes.
Why are you afraid?
Yeah.
And one time, so this is after the Mzungu left, the American left.
That hosted you for 1 month.
Yeah, I rented a house in Gedagoreti, you know, Ndonyo, where they slaughter.
Yes.
I rented like a 2,000 shilling a month. And I was sleeping again on the floor with the perfume blankets. And I was serving this politician. He's Justice Lenaola.
Yes.
And he asked me, why are you here? Because I was so young. I said, I'm looking for money. I'm trying to have a good life. And he's like, how old are you? What's your tribe? Then he told me, give me your budget of what you want in your house and write it on the paper. I was very scared.
Really?
Yeah. And other waiters and waitresses had me talking to him. And they're like, oh, yo, quick. And I didn't know. So I came up with a 5,000 budget. And then my workmates took that out and they gave him 20,000 budget. And he counted 20,000 cash and gave it into my hand and said, go start your life.
Really?
Mr. Lenaola.
Lenaola, big up to him.
And he said, anytime I come here, he used to call me Onyango. You serve me. And that's how my life started changing. And so he used to come with his entourage, like he'll be there with Orengo and these guys, and I'll serve those big tables and I'll get the biggest tips. And that's how my boss liked me and my job became, and I ended up making so much money. I used to make at least 4 times tips of my salary.
Wow.
Yeah.
Amazing.
And that's when now I was almost leaving America. There's a girl I liked in the US.
How did you meet them? On pen pal?
She was a Bahai.
She was a Bahai. How do Bahai? Do you call it Bahaian?
Bahai.
You just if you like Christian Bahai.
So Christian is a follower of Christ. Muslim is a follower of Muhammad. Bahai is a follower of Baha'u'llah. Buddhists are followers of Buddha. You see? It rhymes like that. So we Baha'is were followers of Baha'u'llah. Yeah, we believe in Baha'u'llah.
So how did you meet this girl? On the internet? Wow.
Yeah, she texted me first, actually. She said, actually, this is funny.
Yeah.
I like African printed clothes. I must have an African thing like now I have my chain or I might have my flag or something.
Yeah.
So back in the days...
But is it American? No.
Yeah, it's American because I live here. So I had America, Kenya, Uganda, Tanzania, and I got this in Jamaica. The Rastas.
Yeah.
So I used to wear this African printed, and then she's like, I like your shirt.
She was here in Kenya?
No, she was in US at that time.
And why is she liking this?
I think she liked my face more than my shirt.
Yeah, but I'm asking, where are you guys meeting?
Facebook.
So that's what I was looking for.
Right. Facebook. And bro, she kept texting. And I was like, wow. And she asked me, because we as Baha'is, we are always encouraged to get married, not to jump around. You tell us to limit our chances of choosing. You find someone, you build a story with them. Don't try to put different stories.
Build a story.
It becomes boring.
Build a story with them. What does that mean?
Like write a book. Writing a book is a process. And then at the time you read this book, it will be so beautiful. But you can't jump from person to person trying. So be someone's friend, know who they are. And then if you want to start a relationship, then build it up slowly. And one of the principles is actually we're very encouraged to be married. And she really liked me. And after I think 2 months of chatting, she said, I'm coming to Kenya.
Wow.
To see you. And I'm like, wow, really? She said, yes. She said, would you like to be married one day? I think also I was excited because she was a Muzungu. She was white. And in Africa, we don't mingle with so many white people. So white people are special here, if I use that term. As soon as you see a white skin, oh my God. Now I don't see that because I live around millions of them. But as a young kid, plus she was American, and it's every young kid's, or even every Kenyan's dream, I won't say every, but many, to go to America. So her saying that I want you to be with me and move to the States with me, that was a big deal. I was ready to lose a foot.
Onyango Bwana. You are ready to lose a foot.
Well,
you are ready to lose one kidney.
I think I could have seen some red flags. But at that time, I refused because she's American, she's white. And also at that time, I was going through a heartbreak because there's a girl who left me because I never had anything. She was from Karen and she came to visit me in Dagoretti, and she looked at my house. And when she left, she said, I think we should be friends.
Yeah, so you're friend zoned.
I was friend zoned because of how the place looked like. Actually, I met her 2 days ago. It's funny. I took her to a very nice restaurant. I paid her bills. And she gave me a very tight hug.
Damn. That's how the story goes, bro.
That's how it happens, right?
That's how the story goes, bro.
Yeah.
What a tight hug it was.
Tight hug.
Very tight.
She was like, oh my God.
A lingering one.
She posted me on her status.
Lingering,
saying, congratulations.
a lingering hug. You know?
Man. This life
is like that. So you go to the States.
Well, she came here and we met my parents and we talked about being together. And I told her that she has to come to Kenya and stay in Kenya for a while before we move so she can understand where I'm coming from. So she stayed here for at least one time. She stayed here for a month. The other time she was here for 2 weeks. It was very brief. Our relationship was mostly on the phone. So we never had time to know each other, you know. We never had time to argue and resolve our arguments in person. It was mostly on the phone. So until when I moved to the States, that's when we were like dating again. And I was like, oh, you do this. Oh, you do this. I didn't know you do this. All these new things were popping up. And it was a horrible experience. I will never advise any person to be with someone that they really not sure of, regardless of how much money they have. I know the situation in Kenya might be hard, but if I was to help a brother or a sister, I would help them not marry someone who they're not compatible with. You can die.
It's the story of every day. How bad was it?
Cultural differences was big, completely big. Plus, I was very African. You know, I'm from Africa. And I moved into a country where feminism is on top.
Yeah.
And I blame myself on this because here we are taught to be on top of women.
Yeah.
You have to be a man. And up there, many American women, they have their space. So I felt like I was being bullied. At the same time, I was trying to prove that I'm a man because I was like, I don't want to cook. She's like, well, I don't know how to cook. Well, you got to cook because since you know how to cook. So we'll argue. And then my friends, I did a mistake because anytime we'll argue, I'll call my friends back in Kenya and tell them what happened. And then they'll laugh at me and they're like, oh, you're the one cooking. You've been married. You're not a man.
Yeah.
And then I'll use that experience to bring frustration in the relationship. Because I never gave my ex a chance for us of solving issues. I used to go to third party. Like I used to tell them, oh, she said this. You know, we as Africans, we don't do this. And she's like, well, we don't do this here. This is a new country. It's funny, we argued on our wedding day. We got married. We argued. We had a big fight. Actually, I'm the one who was saying that I don't want to be married.
On the wedding day?
The night before the wedding. Yeah. We talked until 2 a.m. From 8 p.m. to 2 a.m. with other people, sitting, just having that discussion. I was ready to pull back. But she was like, no, it's going to be fine.
You're going to solve our problems.
And at the same time, my Kenyan family never wanted me to come back. You are in the US, stay there. So I was in trouble there. And at the same time, I feel like nobody wants me back.
Why didn't they want you back?
Oh, because they think I'll make so much money. Now I'm in the land of the free.
You have made up with your family by now, with your mother.
I have no problem with them.
No. I'm saying then.
No. Oh yeah, then little bit. We were starting because I feel like most of my family members started tracking me when I moved to the States. When I was here, nobody saw me. I could walk in front of them, but they'd be like, "Oh, he was here? Wow!" But these days, if they know that I'm in Turkey, I'm on my way to Nairobi, you'll see them clapping at JKIA. So it was very funny. That relationship was very hard for both of us. I won't say that she was wrong or I was wrong, but we never really invested into it as much as we wanted. And unfortunately, it ended. And when it ended, we had COVID. Restrictions and depression, and I thought the world was ending. And that's when the Black Lives Matter thing kicked in. And that gave me life. I had something to do.
Yeah.
Put me out of depression.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So let's talk about. I want us to talk about Black Lives Matter, because I've seen a lot of articles about you in Black Lives Matter, and then we are coming back to Bahai just to wrap it up and talk about the faith in details.
Right.
Yeah. So how did you get involved with Black Lives Matter?
I've been a passionate believer of black people, as you know what has happened to us, and still. I was even reading an article, like even on dating sites, black women are the least to be matched. Like if there's a white woman, she should get matched first before the black woman. Even in America, not even only in Africa. So, and this skin, I have it. Every day, I walk around it. I can't hide. So I kept asking myself, what did we do to God to deserve this? So one time when George Floyd was killed by the cops in the States, I just never had a platform to voice out my grievances as a black person in general, not African, but just as a black person who has this black skin. And at the same time, I had to approach the situation in a Bahai way, because we Baha'is, we don't believe in violence, regardless of the situation. So there was a protest that was planned into the city, and everybody was alerted that we're coming. You know, people are burning down cities to show frustration. And then I said, I don't think that's a good idea to burn down the city, because you're burning down people's businesses and other innocent folks. We can protest and challenge these people with our minds. Let's put down the city officials, all kind of people, on a panel and have these tough discussions between white police officers and black communities and see what we can come with. But the other group was like, no, we're going to burn it down. And I said, no, I don't support it. And then I said, well, I'm going to start my own group if you guys won't listen. And they said, all right, go do it. And then me and my friend, we went to a protest together the first day with the other large group, and it turned chaotic. People were arrested. I think there was some few lootings and things. Shops were being broken down. And after that night, I went back home and I reflected, and I called him and I told him, you know what? Let's start our own group. And all of a sudden, we started this group. We had a huge following, thousands of people in the city. So the city was divided into two, between us, who are fighting for the rights of black people, but in a non-violent way, and then the other guys who are here to deal with the cops and do whatever it takes to put their grievances on the table. And that's when I became so popular. It was even very hard for me to jog in the park because everybody knew who I was. It was very dangerous because, you know, United States is not like here. People don't walk with knives. Yeah, if you know what I mean. Guns,
assault rifles.
Oh yeah. Like I can tell you, many times I've been in the car with my friends, and if I look back, I see an automatic weapon. That's them. So it was very hard, but I never stopped. I got threatened so many times. We started having these big rallies in the city because we wanted cops and black communities to have a discussion and see what we can do. Not only a discussion, but also to set a deadline on doing things. Like, I'm so proud that that time, the Rockford Police Department, they never used to have body cameras. We pushed them until now they have body cameras. Also with people with mental issues, you might go to someone's house to knock and arrest them. Maybe they have mental issues. So you can't kill them because you feel like they threatened you. So now, if there's a mental issue in Rockford, there will be a mental health specialist with a cop who will respond to that. And this is one of the things me and my friends and other guys did, which I'm very proud. But later I had to run away. And I went to Las Vegas.
Yeah.
I disappeared for 1 year.
Why?
Because I almost died.
Tell me the story. What almost killed you?
So this is after my relationship broke and I was doing these rallies, and I got a text message and someone said, "You get shot."
You'll get shot?
Yes. I got a text message, and one time I was reading a speech and I saw a message coming in, "You get shot." And someone said that someone is trying to spray chemical where we were standing. And most of the time when I was leaving work, I could see cars following me for a long time. and I had to drive to police station. And I started getting paranoid maybe sometimes for no reason. I was very afraid, mostly when I used to see tinted cars. And my picture was all over the city.
Where on the cities?
Magazines, newspapers. So I was an easy target. Now let me tell you, it's very hard to be famous. These celebrities, they go through a lot. And I'm so lucky that now I'm back in my track where nobody knows who I am. I was on the news, I was in the papers, I was on kind of this. There was good attention, which people are like, oh my God, I saw you in the paper, Blazey, you're famous. And then on the other side, everybody knows who you are. You can't even mess. You know, we human beings, we have two sides. Where we mess and where we don't mess. You can't, because if you mess, you'll be on the paper too. So it was very hard. So I decided to leave. And I went to the mountains in Nevada. And I stayed there for 1 year. Nobody knew where I was.
Another Bahai center?
I was living with the Bahai family there, which I was helping their kids. I was teaching them Swahili, they're Americans. And they gave me a place to stay for 1 year, almost 1 year, yeah. And then later when things calmed down, then I drove back from Vegas to Chicago. And at that time, I refused to work. I never wanted to go to work. I wanted to give back to the community. So I spent 1 year without doing any job, just having small stipend, helping the junior youth or young people from the ages of 11 to 15 with making good decisions for 1 year, like as a sacrifice. And then last year, then I started working. Yeah.
Great. What an amazing story. Big up to you, man. You've done well for yourself and for the community.
So
let's talk about Bahai Faith. Yeah.
So the Bahai Faith started in 1844. It was started by Baha'u'llah. And Baha'u'llah came and said, he's a new prophet. He said that God sends his manifestations according to the needs and times of the planet. After every 1,000 years, the world enters a new cycle. And which you guys know. Me, I think it's every 10 years. Now look at Gen Z, how, they're changing all the things we used to believe in. And same as religion. Back in the days, it was okay to own slaves. I think it's even in the Bible. I'm not sure which verse, but it's there.
They condoned it at least.
Yeah, but right now, if you have a slave, it doesn't work. It was okay to look at a woman as a property. I don't think now that law applies. It was okay for us black people to be looked at the most disgusting things. But right now, no, we're even having black presidents. So the world has moved into a new cycle. So we have principles of the faith, which one of them is independent investigation of truth. This is what Baha'u'llah said. Every human being has to be given a chance to investigate what they want spiritually and choose it without being forced into it or being promised a reward or punishment. Which, if I use the word hell and heaven, if you want to believe in something, you don't need to be afraid for you to accept it. That's one of the principles. Another one is said, unity of all religions. All religions come from the same God. And if religion should bring conflict in the planet, then we don't need it. Then we should be non-religious creatures. You know what I mean? And then he talked about education as a master key that helps people understand themselves. And it's not only this kind of education that we have, which is more competitive. If you're a doctor, you're more special than a cleaner. No, it's spiritual education, which you feel like everybody plays their part. If I am a janitor in the toilet, I'm trying to make sure people are not getting sick. And the doctor is trying to make sure that he's saving lives. And the carpenter is trying to make sure that someone has a bed to sleep. It's not about status or how much money, and all many things. Also, we do believe that when people are less educated, they become fools and controlled very quick. That's why you have people in the big buildings seeing protesters protesting, and then they're looking at them. Poor people mostly. They're the ones who run on the streets. Actually, many poor people are even more religious. I don't know why. So that kind of education, you understand yourself. Me, I'm a very proud black man because I know myself. I learned on how to be black, what it entails. Another thing that Baha'u'llah talked about is one universal language, that there should be a language that unites every human being, which now I could say is English. Because now when I go to Arab countries, when I go to the middle other parts of the planet, and someone can speak English, it's easier. We can communicate and we can share things. And when Baha'u'llah talked about these things in Iran in 1844, like equality between men and women, the government did not take it lightly. So he was imprisoned and he was banished from Iran. And many times
it was Persian.
It was Persian. Many times they tried to kill him. And later he was banished completely and put in a prison in Israel. And when the Ottoman Empire fell down, all the prisoners were released, and Baha'u'llah was one of the prisoners who was released. And later he died in Israel, where he's buried there. So we have a shrine where we always go to do pilgrimage, in resting place. So that's just a brief part of the Bahai Faith of what I can tell you, unless if you have a question directly.
Because then if you believe that there is no superior religion, there is no inferior religion, you know, and the preaching that you do is that let's all live in harmony. Every faith has its own place.
It's all one faith. For us, it's one faith, but it comes in different time. It's like God is one. There's no other God. There's only one God. But He sends us His prophets or manifestations according to to different times. Even in Africa, before white people came here, we were religious. Why do they say that we're wrong? So after every cycle, then another one comes. And then the old world order dies. Like right now, you see the world is crumbling because some people are holding on to the old ages and some are coming with the new ideas. That's why you see all these tensions. But all this will pass, it's dying. And then the new one comes. And then after 1,000 years, the Baha'i dispensation will end. And then another one come and take over and move us to the next direction.
When you go to the temple, how would you pray? We know the Hindu guitar, we know the Quran, we know the Bible. How do you guys, do you have a Bible? Do you have the...
Yeah, so we have all our holy writings have been written down. We don't pray from our head. I'll explain why. So for us, I'm sorry, I don't want to make it feel like Christians might be wrong or anyone. But we as Baha'is, we do believe that a prayer is a conversation between you and God. It's not just blah, 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 and then we're done. So you have to look at the environment we're about to pray, reflect, process, sit down, read the holy writings, and then meditate upon it. It's a process. It's not like okay, guys, let's pray.
What is the holy writing called?
The holy book, the most holy, it's called Kitab Aqdas, called the Book of Laws, which was written by Baha'u'llah. So all the writings for us, we can't do anything on our own. All the prayers have been written. We have prayers for morning, evening, protection, travel, all the things.
Do you master them or you just read them?
We are encouraged to memorize because it's easy for it when it's in your head. You can't memorize all of them, but if you have it, let's say if you're in a plane and your plane is shaking, it's about to go down, you might not know where your prayer book is or your phone. But if you have it in your memory, you just say.
Which one do you have in your memory?
I have a few. Yeah, like there's one we say in midday, which is I bear witness, O my God, that thou hast created me to know thee and to worship thee. I testify at this moment to my powerlessness and to thy might, to my poverty and to thy wealth, that there is none other God but thee, the help in peril, the self-subsisting. So that prayer, we say it noontime. It's like you're praising and telling God that I understand you are the creator. And you know what I mean? You
have to pray. You have to do it at noon.
Yeah, but these laws are not punishable to us. Sometimes I might not be able to. But if
I'm very interested in the one for nighttime and morning. Do you have them mastered, those ones?
The one I said is a short one. The other one for nighttime and morning, a bit longer. I think it'll take like half an hour.
Oh, yeah?
to say that. But I like to.
What are some of the parts that you really love about the morning prayer and the nighttime prayer?
Yeah, the morning prayer is like you wake up and you say that, God, I'm about to go to my day-to-day activities. Please protect me. And when I come back home, I will say all praises and everything to you. So you prepare yourself for the day. And then later in the evening, you reflect on what happened, and then you tell God, thank you for everything that happened, and if I did something wrong to anyone, please forgive me. And then you go to bed. So it's I reflect, like in the morning time you prepare yourself, in the evening you reflect.
Oh, I see.
But the one in the noontime, you can only say one. The law is like you can say one of each. So the noontime you can only say once. The morning one you can say it 3 times a day. The evening one you can say it once at night. There's different laws. And we have other many prayer, many small quotations that we read.
Okay. Is it available to anybody who wants to read it?
Anyone can read it. In the Bahai Faith, anyone can read it.
You can always download it from the internet?
Yeah, we have Bahai prayers on the internet. And also, before I forget, we don't have a clergy. We don't have someone who's like in charge. I know that's funny because you guys are used to pastors.
You don't know anybody? There is nobody that you find in the temple?
There is, but so what we do is we have a 9-member team that are elected locally, nationally, and internationally. So locally, these people will serve for a period of 1 year, and it's through secret ballot. We don't do any campaigns. We don't do anything. So if I was here and today is an election day, we say prayers, and then I'll start thinking, this guy seems like a good guy. I would like him to be part of this. And then I put his name somewhere and hide my vote. And maybe I can also vote for myself and put it in a box. And then after everybody votes, we'll check who had the highest number. Then they end up serving. But if there's a tie between a man and a woman, the man yields, because women are not given chances in the planet. Or if there's a tie between a minority race and the other one, the minority will have to get in. Let's say if I was in America and I tie with a white person, he will step down and I'll be part of the... And if he was here in Africa, his minority, then the black dude will step down. So we have a balance. Yeah. And then after that, also we're not allowed to engage in politics. As Bahai, you will never run for any office, no matter what.
You are running away from life.
This is the old world order. It's dying, because politics it divides us. Because think about us, Kikuyus and Luos during election, they fight. We as Baha'is, we don't see it like that. We can solve it in a different way. So it's illegal for any Baha'i to participate in active politics, but you are allowed to vote, but don't tell people who you voted for. So if I voted for Ruto, you never know.
And you don't shout about it.
I won't even wear a Azimio shirt. I won't wear anything that advertises any political party, or I won't even post. I'll just look. I might say my frustration about government does something, but I won't tell people don't vote for those guys. If they vote for Ruto and that's what people want, that's okay. Sometimes we have to learn.
So what have you learned about life?
This life is
especially as somebody who has traveled. What have you learned about life?
Life is very simple and easy as long as you don't detach yourself with material things. Let me tell you, I get so much attention. Let's say because I'm driving a big car, I'm on all these countries. I live in the US, and those things don't matter. What matters is connections and memories you make with people. When you help someone from a problem, you'll never forget that. And also the idea of thinking that we're all one. Everybody has to eat. You know what I mean? That's the biggest part of it. Everybody has to eat and everybody has to survive. And everything else in life just becomes easy. And the life of serving people, you're here to serve. You're not here to accumulate. Actually, extreme wealth in the Bahai Faith is illegal. If you have so much money, it's like, why do you want so much every time? Then start giving. Yeah, that guy there, I know he won't be in the camera, but he knows what we do. If I have so much money in my bank, I have to take it out sometimes. That's life for me.
That is life for you.
Yeah.
What do you think about the war in Israel, between Israelis and?
Yeah. It's unfortunately, I'm so excited. I've been into both sides, and I think we human beings, we have to learn, and sometimes we have to learn the hard way. And if it means that we have to go through these disasters for us to understand that we can solve our issues without using bombs and bullets, then we'll have to do that. Because these problems, we bring it to ourselves. I won't blame Israel or Palestine. Land is just a piece of land. It's for everyone, but we're so attached. So as soon as people understand that we're all from the same God and we're all from one family, then all these wars will end. But for now, I will never pick any side. I'll just say my prayers to both
people.
Yeah.
With that, thank you very much for coming to Dialogues with Jagero. It's a place that I want to hold as many bold conversations, and I think your story is very interesting to me. Picking a faith at 15 years old, then coming to Nairobi, to a new place, the city of glasses, a very unforgiving city, and then going to the land of the free. I don't know whether it's still the land of the free.
Milk and honey.
Milk and honey. Yeah. And now you are traveling the world and making a change. Thank you very much for showing up.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate it, and I'm sure I'll see you soon.
Yeah, you will. So thank you. All right. Thank you very much, people of the internet, for listening in to my dialogue with Blazey Onyango. I would want to ask you this. If you really, really enjoy my interviews and enjoy my guests, I would ask you to consider subscribing. Because people like Onyango and the rest of them, they come here because we have got a subscriber base. There are people that I want to bring to this podcast, but probably they will look at my subscriber base and say, do I really need to go there? So please consider subscribing, hit on that notification bell, and follow us on social media, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, now called X, and TikTok. And until another episode, bye for now.